Your brain quietly erased the first years of your life, every single one of them. Try to remember being 1 year old. Your first steps, your first words, your first birthday cake. You feel around for the memory and find nothing. Just a blank space where a whole person used to live. An entire chapter of you written in invisible ink. And here's the part that should unsettle you. You were awake for all of it. You were learning, laughing, crying, watching faces, yet almost none of it survived. The footage rolled, but the tape was never saved. Scientists have a name for this strange gap. They call it infantile amnesia. Not a disorder, not damage, but something that happens to everyone. A clean, universal gap that shows up in nearly every human on Earth. Think about that for a second. Billions of people, and almost nobody remembers being a baby. So the real question isn't why you forgot, it's why your brain seems to forget on purpose. Let's start with what most people assume. The easy answer is that babies just don't form memories. It feels obvious, right? A baby's brain is unfinished, so surely it can't record anything yet. For a long time, even scientists leaned toward that idea, but it turns out to be beautifully wrong. Because babies make memories constantly. A baby learns to recognize their mother's voice within days. A baby remembers which toy makes the fun sound. A baby learns that crying brings someone running. Tiny lessons, stacking up day after day after day. That is memory, working exactly as it should. So the machine isn't broken at all. Something else is going on. Here's where it gets stranger. The problem may not be making memories. The problem may be keeping them. Picture your brain as a vast filing system. To store a memory long term, you need somewhere stable to file it. A key part of that system is a seahorse-shaped region called the hippocampus. It helps turn fleeting experiences into lasting, retrievable memories. Without it, today's moments would never harden into something you can revisit. And in a baby, the hippocampus is still under heavy construction. Now here's the twist that surprised researchers. In those early years, your brain is growing at a staggering pace. It's sprouting new neurons faster than at almost any other time in life. Whole forests of fresh connections, blooming by the second. That explosion of growth is wonderful for learning, but it may be terrible for keeping old memories intact. Imagine trying to file papers into a cabinet. Now imagine the cabinet is being rebuilt while you do it. Drawers shift, folders move, whole sections get rewired overnight. By morning, the paper you filed might sit in a drawer that no longer exists. That's a little like your infant brain. The very growth that makes you so good at learning may overwrite what came before. Old connections get pruned and replaced to make room for new ones. And the early memories, stored on shaky shelving, not deleted out of malice, just sacrificed for a brain in a hurry to grow. This sounds fake, but the evidence is genuinely fascinating. In careful studies, young children can recall events from a year or two earlier, but as they grow, those same early memories slowly fade away. The window of recall keeps shrinking year by year until it quietly closes. It's not that the memories were never made, it's that they don't survive the brain's own remodeling. Let me pause and ask you something. What is the single earliest moment you can actually remember? Not a story your family told you, but a real flicker you own yourself. Most people land somewhere around age 3 or 4. Everything before that tends to dissolve into a soft, wordless haze. Drop your earliest memory in the comments and tell me how old you were. I'm genuinely curious where the curtain lifts for you. Now, stick with me because there's a second piece to this puzzle. It isn't only about wiring. It might also be about words. And specifically about the words you simply didn't have yet. Think about how you store a memory of last weekend. You probably wrap it in language, in a little story you can tell. You went here, you saw this, then that happened. But a baby has no words yet. No sentences, no labels, no quiet inner narrator describing the day. A baby experiences the world as raw color, sound, warmth, and feeling. A flood of pure sensation with no labels attached. Without language to pin it down, an experience is much harder to file and find later. Some researchers think this is a big reason early memories slip away. The events happened, but you had no story to hang them on. And a memory you can't put into words is a memory that's hard to find again. And here's a clue that supports the idea. A child's first lasting memories often arrive right around the time language blooms. It's almost as if each memory had been waiting for the words to carry it. As your words grow, so does your ability to keep a memory. Language and remembering seem to rise together hand in hand. It's as if language hands you the hooks to hang your past on. There may be one more ingredient too. To remember an event as your event, you may need a sense of self. A baby is still figuring out where they end and the world begins. The famous mirror test hints at this. Before a certain age, a baby doesn't recognize the reflection as themselves. They'll reach for the baby in the mirror as though it were a stranger. And it's hard to store a memory of you if there isn't quite a you yet. So three things may be tangled together here. A brain rebuilding itself, a mind without language, and a self still forming. No single one fully explains it, and scientists are still debating the mix. That uncertainty is part of what makes this so interesting. We're talking about a mystery written into every human skull, including yours right now as you listen to this. Now here's something to make it personal. Right now, somewhere in you, those lost years still echo. Because forgotten doesn't always mean gone. You may not recall learning to walk, but your body remembers how to balance perfectly. Every confident step you take is a memory you can no longer recall making. You may not recall a single early word, but your brain absorbed the rhythm of your language for life. The sounds you swam in as a baby still shape every word you speak. Psychologists call this implicit memory. It's the knowledge that lives in your skills, not your stories. You can't describe it, yet you carry it everywhere you go. So your earliest years didn't vanish completely. They dissolved into who you simply are. The fear that soothed you, the faces that calmed you, the comfort you learned. They shaped your wiring even after the snapshots faded. Like a building that stands tall long after the scaffolding comes down. Think about how strange and beautiful that is. You can't replay your first year. Yet your first year is quietly replaying through you every day, hidden in your habits, your reflexes, and the easy way you trust the world. Here's a small thing to try later. Next time you see a baby utterly fascinated by a spoon, remember that you were once exactly that curious. You lived a whole vivid chapter you'll never read again. A story so important it quietly built you, then closed the book behind it, and somehow you turned out to be the sequel. So let's pull the pieces back together. You can't remember being a baby, but not because nothing happened. Your infant brain was learning furiously the entire time, soaking up faces, sounds, and feelings at a pace you will never match again. It simply rebuilt itself so fast that the early files were overwritten. Growth and forgetting, it turns out, were two sides of the very same coin. You had no language to tie those moments down, and no fully formed self to claim them as yours. 3 quiet gaps, lining up at the exact same fragile moment, so the memories faded, even as their lessons stayed behind forever. The story slipped away, but the meaning quietly stayed. Here's the thought I want to leave with you. The next time someone asks why you can't remember being a baby, you'll know the truth. It wasn't lost time, and it wasn't an empty mind. It was a brain growing so fast it had to let the snapshots go. Your earliest self handed everything important to the person you are now, and then quietly stepped out of the frame. The next time you forget where you put your keys, go easy on that brain of yours. It has been editing your story since the very first day. If this changed how you see your own forgotten years, drop a like to help it spread. Subscribe to Bodyquirk because your mind is hiding 100 more secrets like this one. And tell me in the comments, how old were you in your very first memory? Next time, we'll explore why a song could drag you instantly back to a moment from years ago. Until then, be kind to this strange, brilliant machine writing your life as you live it. It remembers more than you think, and it forgets for reasons all its own.